So apparently we're going to have to do this every week, and I'll say it again. The Hawkeyes are the master class of the Big Ten. 50 burger last weekend in College Park, and they find themselves barely as home favorites this week. Well, you already know that I'm on it. I'm all over it. They get Penn State. Now, Penn State, they definitely deserve the respect. They've got some good wins over Indiana, Auburn, and they beat Wisconsin on the road in week 1. However, this is their first true road test. Obviously, Wisconsin's not an easy place to play. However, from what we've seen, the Badgers aren't very good. Iowa, on the other hand, is exceptional. Iowa, they're even more exceptional at home. Kinnick is probably the toughest draw in the Big Ten right now, minus the horseshoe, as since 2019, they've got a 13-2 home record. Now, the Nittany Lions, they're coming in with senior Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford, very good quarterback. He's leading a pretty darn good passing attack. He's got some great numbers. I think he's got like 11 touchdowns, maybe more, 13, I think. I actually don't have the number in front of me. Regardless, they're inflated. He had a 400-yard and 4-touchdown performance against Villanova. Defensively, they're definitely an above-average squad. They rank in the top 25 in yards per play, as well as 15 in red zone efficiency against. However, they're averaging over 170 yards against on the ground per game. Iowa's not a team that you want to establish the run. This is a team that thrives off play-action passing. Now let's talk Hawkeyes a little bit. Obviously, we haven't done that enough this year. In their 3 games against Power 5 opponents, they've outscored them 112-31. That's an average of 37-10. Last week, their defense, they proved they're a top 3 defense in the country. Now, I can give you Bama, I can give you Georgia, but Iowa is right there. They're the real deal. They've allowed 11.6 points per game. Their defense ranks 37th against the pass, 33rd against the run. And the biggest stat, the one that I love the most, is how dominant they are at creating turnovers. Last week against Talia Tagovailoa, 6 picks. Obviously, 5 were from him. They got 1 from the backup. They had 7 total turnovers. They've got the most interceptions in the country. And it's going to be a little breezy on Saturday in Iowa City. They're looking at between 10 to 15 to up to 18 mile per hour winds, it looks like. So if Sean Clifford wants to try to throw in the wind because Penn State really doesn't have a rushing attack, I think the Iowa DBs are going to have an absolute field day. Iowa, they also run one of the most balanced offenses in the Big Ten. I love the balance that they have here. I've talked about him before, but Spencer Petras, their quarterback, is a game manager. Now, last week, he was exceptional. 3 touchdowns, looked fantastic. His QBR has actually gone up over 20 points. I think it's near 25 points from last year to this year. He's on pace to set, I think, a few school records. The guy's been very, very solid for what Iowa needs to happen. I think a big part of Saturday's game plan, though, is going to be their junior running back, Tyler Goodson. Tyler Goodson, he's an old school Big Ten bell cow back. This year he's gotten over 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. This is a group that wants to sustain drives. They want to milk the clock. They don't want to see your offense out there, but they can score quickly. We saw last week the defense gives them short field after short field. It leads to a lot of points. They're averaging around 33 points per game with what I would say is probably an above average offense in the Big Ten, but definitely not one of the top 3 or 5. So overall, I don't want to overthink this game. Iowa at home. Iowa has looked so good. They passed the eye test. They are the better team on paper. And again, they're at home. I cannot stress enough, Kinnick is a brutal place to play. I've watched year after year Wisconsin going into that place and getting their teeth kicked in when I was the not as good team. And I was the better team here. So I'm going to take the Hawkeyes. I'm going to max this bet. I know I haven't really done a lot of those with Season 2. I love this pick. I'm going to max it so that for me, that's 4 units. For you, whatever you're comfortable laying. But I think this is a fantastic game. I think this is a great spot for Iowa to make a statement to the league. Granted, top 5 already, you've made your statement. But beating another top 5 team, that's what they need to really put them over the edge. I like Hawkeyes, money line. I got it like minus 130. I think it's creeping towards minus 125. I might lose out on a little bit of juice there, but at the end of the day, I feel so good about this pick. This is a pick that's getting me excited. So let's go Hawkeyes. So apparently we're going to have to do this every